Am I not turtly enough for the Turtle Club?
It has been a month in the making. Actually, a month and a week in the making of this review. I cannot believe I've taken this long to do this. I've just been lazy. I'm just going to throw it out there, you guys. I have been so lazy, and I've not been doing this, but now I am finally going to show you this. This is it. Here it is, the big main event, the Avermedia live game reportable review. So here you go, you guys. And here we are, everyone, with the live game reportable review. I want to start off on their website by showing you the specifications and showing you this, that the Avermedia live game reportable now does 1080p recording with an SD card. So anybody who's wondering about that, it does now do it. So now let's move on to the specifications. For an interface that uses USB 2.0, not 3.0, but you can connect it to a USB 3.0 if you think it will be faster. For video input, it uses HDMI and component, and for video output, it uses HDMI and the component passes through HDMI. Now for audio input, it uses HDMI or RCA, LR, or 3.5mm audio, and for output, it uses HDMI with a pass-through of an HDMI, and 3.5mm with a pass-through from HDMI. And it has an SD card slot. So yeah, you already know what that's for. Now for the devices that work with this, the Wii U, Xbox 360, Xbox One, and PS4 all work for HDMI. So anyone who is wondering about the Xbox One and the PS4, they are on that list. Now for component, unfortunately PS3, as you know, has to use component for their copyright issues, and then you can also use it for Wii U and Xbox 360. For some reason, I don't know if you can't use the Xbox One and the PS4 on the component. I don't know what that means. Now, let's see down here. PS4 game recording over HDMI is available only when Sony releases an update. So I don't know if that is the date is December 23rd of 2013. I do not know if that is on there yet. I don't know if the update has come out, but there's that. So once PlayStation releases an update, you can record on your capture card, but for Xbox One you can do that regardless, as you see here, so that proves it. So now for the video quality, for when you're connected to a computer, the resolution is 920 by 1080 60 frames per second, so that is 1080p, and the resolution is 920 by 1080 30 frames per second, so that is what you can capture at. Now I don't know what any of this means. If you know what it means, you can definitely geek out about that if you want to. But anyway, now this is the basically the specs of the hardware in general. It uses H.264 encoder, has the onboard hot button and the LED, the blue ring around the hot button. The dimensions, I think this is 70 centimeters, so 70 centimeters by 22 centimeters by 131 centimeters. Don't know exactly what those dimensions are, but it's small, as I can just tell you that. So, and then it's 117 grams. Now, for the applications, the software it uses is Avermedia Rec Central. That's what comes with it, and that's what they recommend to use. And honestly, that's what I recommend to use. And it also comes with XSplit Broadcaster, which you get 3 months of the premium version of it for free. For the record quality, as I showed you earlier, it does 60 it does 60 megabits per second at 1080p for 30 frames per second. Now that's the best you can get on this for the maximum recording quality. Now for the operating systems that you have to use this on, it's either Windows 8 and Windows 7. Sorry Mac users, but this does not work for Mac. Now for the minimum requirements of this device, you have to have at least an Intel Core Duo processor that runs 2.8 gigahertz a second, I don't know. But and then AMD Athlon 64X2 dual core 3.0 gigahertz a second. I don't know. I don't even think there's a second after that. Whatever, gigahertz. But then you have to have 4 gigs of RAM. For a graphics card, you can just use your Intel processor. The HD graphics that come with Intel. That's what I use, because I do not have a graphics card in my computer now. But so I don't know exactly what this means. You can always look at your computer, see if it has a DirectX 10.0C. I tried to see if mine did. I couldn't find it, but it works, so I wouldn't be too worried about this. And then uses USB for power. Now for PC free mode, for the SD card, you do have to have a class 10. That is the minimum requirement
for an SD card. Now, for me, I tried a Class 6 and it didn't work when I just tried to start recording from the game, but I was using it on Xbox and I started from the Xbox 360 menu and I hit record. It started recording, I went into my game and I started playing and it did record it. So I guess if you wanted to, you could cut out that initial part of you from the Xbox menu to the game, and you could use a Class 6 if you really wanted to, but for the convenience, I would just recommend getting a Class 10, especially since they're not all that expensive. Just get like a 32 gig or something like that, and you'll be all set. Now, for the input and pass-through, it does 1080p 60 frames, or 920 by 1080p 60 frames per second, so it'll show up in full 1080p quality, and it captures, it does, like I said earlier, it does now capture 920 by 1080p 30 frames per second, when before it only captured 1280 by 720 60 frames per second. But why would you need 60 frames per second if you're going to be uploading this to YouTube and it only does 30 frames per second anyway? Now, for the maximum recording quality, it's only 16 megabits per second at 1080p 30 frames per second, but it's still pretty good. I'm going to be showing you the quality of everything later on in the video. And then it uses USB power, and what comes with the device, what includes is the capture device itself, of course, the HDMI cable, the component video cable for the AV in, the mini USB cable, the 3.5mm audio cable, and the PlayStation 3 cable, so that way you don't have to buy a set of component cables for the PlayStation 3 if you do not have to. It comes with a protective bag, which is convenient for, for the portability of it, and then it comes, quick installation guide that's actually just on this Avermedia website, so that's what you have to look up for that. So anyway, you guys, that is the specs and everything for this device, and now let's move on to the next thing. So now, guys, I'm going to show you everything that came with the Avermedia. So let's start off with the Avermedia itself. There it is, and on the top there is the hot button, and around it is the LED ring that indicates whether you're recording in standby mode and stuff. Now we're going to move on to the ports. On the left side there, we have the AV in port. Next to that, there's the HDMI in port, the HDMI out port, then the 3.5mm audio in and out. Then we have the PC, the connector, the micro USB to USB. Then we have the PC to PC free mode switch right there. That's how you can switch between either mode. And then there you go. So then we have the SD card slot where you can put your Class 10 SD card in to record PC free. So next we have the carrying case for portable use, which is made out of a suede material. Inside it's a mesh. You can't really see it there, but it's a meshy type material, which is good for cushioning in case you drop it or such. But anyway, there's that. Now moving on, we have the HDMI cable that comes with it, a rather short cable if I don't say myself, that I actually don't use with it, but if you wanted to use it, you could. It seems like a nice cable. HDMI cable there. And next we have the component cables. We have the component cables, which is the red and white audio and the green, red, and blue video, which goes to the AV out, which connects to the AV in port. Next we have the micro USB to USB the regular USB. Then we have the AV in cable to the PlayStation AV out, so the PlayStation AV out to the AV in for the Avermedia. So now, guys, I'm going to show you a comparison between the Avermedia and an Xbox 360 controller. So there you can see the size comparison, how big it is compared to the controller. And one thing I have to mention before I end this part of the video is that it did come with a 3.5mm to 3.5mm jack, but I do not know what that is, so that is included, so you can connect it to your PC. It has one of those cables, so that's just letting you know. But anyway, so this has been all the components and a comparison. So you guys, it looks like this is going to be a two-parter here because it's running a little bit longer than I anticipated. It's looking like it's going to be at about 25 minutes if I release this all in one video, and I really didn't want to do that because I was afraid people wouldn't want to view it. So this is part one. Look out for part two of the Avermedia Live Gamer Portable overview and review. So I'll catch you guys next time.
Pearl. Pearl.